Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wish Fulfilled. So, last time we talked about how all the rules are changing for people that have mobility challenges. So, this time we're going to get into a little bit deeper dive into this, and we're going to do travel without fear, how to advocate for yourself and travel confidently. So, um, I'm your host, Jen from CM Travel, yet again, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. Knowing your rights is incredibly important, but today we're going to talk about something equally important: how to advocate for yourself and travel with confidence. Because even with improved accessibility standards, things don't always go according to plan. Flights get delayed, wheelchairs get misplaced, hotels don't always understand accommodation requests, staff members aren't always trained, and sometimes simply asking for what you need feels very uncomfortable. Today's episode is all about changing that. It's about giving yourself permission to speak up, ask questions, request accommodations, and travel confidently, because everyone deserves an opportunity to explore the world. So, in the first segment, we're going to talk about why advocating for yourself matters. Many travelers have spent years adapting to situations that weren't designed with them in mind. They've learned to work around the obstacles, stay quiet, not to make a fuss, to simply deal with things the way they are. But travel is the one place where that mindset can create unnecessary stress. Advocating for yourself doesn't mean being demanding. In fact, that might not get you anywhere. It doesn't mean being difficult either. It simply means communicating with what you need clearly and being patient. If you need wheelchair assistance, ask for it. Work with your travel agent. Let them know that you need that assistance. If you need a quiet room away from elevators, make sure you request it. We can't always read your mind. We can't always help you if you won't give us the information either. So if you have dietary modifications, you need to speak up. I have some true dietary things that I have, and there's been times that I feel very upset because the chef or whoever's taking care of me knows that I had these, but they have forgotten. But I got to remember, they've taken care of people all day. They're not going to remember just me. But being noticed and making sure that they're accommodating for my food allergies is very important. The more information you give us or the providers, the better we can create a positive experience for you. So, segment two, you're not an inconvenience. There's been times I've felt like that. I want to pause here because this is something I hear often. Many travelers feel guilty requesting accommodations. They worry that they're causing extra work. They worry because they're being difficult. They worry because they're being judged. But here's the truth: you're not an inconvenience. Accessibility isn't a special favor, it's an inclusion. Traveler provides exists providers exist to serve travelers, just like me. That includes travelers with disabilities, medical conditions, sensory needs, and mobility concerns. You deserve the same opportunity to enjoy your vacation as everyone else does. When you request accommodations, you're not asking for special treatment. Don't ever think of that. You're asking for equal access. And that's an important distinction. Segment three, before you leave home. Very important that we go over this part because we want to make sure you're going to have smooth sailing from the time you leave your door till the time you get back. So, one of the best ways to advocate for yourself is going through preparation. Again, using a travel agent, great asset. We can walk you through the whole thing from the time that you leave your door to the time that you get to your destination and then back safely. The more planning you do before departure, the smoother the trip often becomes. Before traveling, consider transportation needs, definitely important. Do you need wheelchair assistance at the airport? Do you need extra boarding time? Will you need accessible transportation at your destination? Do you need help transferring your luggage? If you're not able to lift it. Lodging needs. Do you need a roll in shower? Do you need grab bars? Do you need a ground floor room? Do you need a shower chair within the shower? Are you going to be able to reach the shower heads, or does it need to be able to have a lower, be able to pull the shower head down lower for you? Do you need a hearing accessible room? Do you need visual modification systems? Do you need a very quiet location? How about a refrigerator for medications? Some people need that. Um, you might even need I have many of my clients that have CPAP machines, breathing machines, oxygen. You may even need an extension cord. On some of the cruise ships, you can pay a nominal fee to get one when you're on board. And then once you return it back in, you get that fee back. But they just want to ensure that they're going to get their extension cord back. And they will give you distilled water on a cruise ship too. As far as excursions, can you safely participate? Is it a low level? Is it a mid level? Is it a high energy type of excursion? Are there alternative options? What accessibility features are available? These are the questions that need to be answered so that no surprises happen later. I can tell you when I was on the river cruise, um, I had talked maybe a couple episodes before about how high tide was in or low tide was in, and how difficult it had to be for people to get on and off the river boat itself, because at high tide the water level was up, so you would decline from the boat. But when low tide was in, you had to climb up, way up on the top of the ship, and then go down steps, which might be difficult somebody that has accessibility. So I want to make sure that that is something that we include and think about when we're doing a river cruise. Or is it a beach where they might not have all the walkways in? Is it going to be safely accessible for you to get into a beach wheelchair to be pushed out on the sand? If there's one available, do I need to make sure there's one for you? I want you to be able to enjoy and make those memories throughout your whole trip. I don't want anything not to be dotted or crossed. I want to make sure that every dream that you want during that time to make those special memories is happening. So, communicating is a very important key. This is segment 4. You want to make sure that you're doing it effectively. One of the most powerful tools you can ever have is clear communication. When requesting the accommodations, be specific. Instead of saying, I need an accessible room, try, I use a wheelchair and I need a roll in shower with enough turning radius. Instead of saying, my child has autism, try, my child has sensory sensitivities and I may need a quiet area during check-in. Specific requests help providers understand exactly how to support you in any way possible. Remember, people can't read your mind. They have to know these things. And I know sometimes it's difficult for us that have disabilities, including myself or my daughter, to speak about what we need help with. But sometimes it's accepting the help too that we need to set aside and just take it, so it makes it easier on us. I know with my daughter, it was hard. She wanted to be as independent as possible, even now, as she is in her late 20s. It's very difficult for her not to be as independent. But sometimes it's better just to take the help than try to struggle. Just remember, you can't always read your mind. And sometimes just adding a few extra words to what you're trying to tell us makes a million of a difference. And sometimes we just need to accept it. We need to accept that help. Let people help you. Let me ask a million questions when we're doing an intake. Let me think about what side that toilet paper roll holder is on. Is it going to be easy for you to rip off the toilet paper? Is it going to be easy for you to roll up underneath the sink in the bathroom? Are you going to be able to turn around safely? Do you need extra grab bars on the toilet area or around the toilet that are going to make it easier for you to get on and off the toilet? Do you need a raised toilet seat? You know, is it easier for you to stay in your wheelchair or have a couch in there? Are you going to be able to safely transfer to a couch? Do you need a transfer board? All those things are things that I take into consideration. I've worked in the medical field for a long time, been in many different settings all my life. And when it comes to me envisioning things, I see it much different than just a typical travel agent that does the accessible and autism parts of a travel agency because of my insight that I already have. Myself, my daughter, and all the years that I worked in the different settings throughout the healthcare industry. So it makes me special. So that takes me into segment 5, what to do when things are wrong. Let's be realistic. Even the best planned trips can experience challenges. The accessible room isn't available. The airline misses a request. Equipment arrives late. Transportation doesn't show up. It happens, unfortunately. When it does, we all got to take a breath. We have to stay calm. We have to document what occurred and then ask for a supervisor when necessary or reach out to your travel agent so that they can handle everything for you. But make sure that you're clearly explaining the issue and what resolution is needed. Most travel issues can be solved more quickly than when approached calmly and professionally. The goal isn't to win the argument, the goal is to solve the problem. Very, very important. All of us have bad days. All of us get more frustrated when things don't go right, especially when we have these disabilities. In the previous episode, I talked about how frustrated I was. I was going crazy. I went into a full-blown panic attack because I was not on the plane, on being the first one there. And I'm sitting right there before they knew that the gate was going to be closed. The only one that made me see that was Mark. He was my caregiver. He was my support system. He kept me as calm as he could, but you could tell that I was very anxious, very nervous because I wanted to get on the plane and I was like not feeling great at that point and I didn't feel important. Like, oh, well, you're just a person that's lazy and, you can get up and walk. When truly I had a fractured ankle and a fractured foot. And on the other side, I had the bar and the rod in my leg. So it made it very difficult for me to do that. Without that wheelchair, I wouldn't have probably gone. I didn't know that I had the fracture and the ankle issues. And I didn't want to give in. I want to try to do it. But I'm finding that, hey, the wheelchair is good. It helps me. And I got through that panic attack. Because he was right. They're not going to leave without us. They know that we're right there. They're not going to close the door and say, oh, I'm sorry, you can't get in. And so just thinking sensitively, thinking, wow, I didn't take a breath at that point. I could have just relaxed and I would have been fine. I wouldn't have went in panic mode. So I get it. I understand these things. So let's go into segment 6. Traveling with autism and sensory needs. This topic is essentially important for many families, more and more because I have many families that come into my life that I'm sure are crossing paths with me for some very important reason in life that I want to be able to help. So, this can be an incredibly rewarding, but it also can involve unfamiliar environments, crowds, sounds, lights, schedule changes. Preparation can make a huge difference. Consider creating a visual schedule. That's one thing that we do as a travel agency. Reviewing photos of destinations. We want to make sure that everything is going to work for you. We want to make sure that you know what to do or where to go if you need help. Watching videos of the airports or cruise ships beforehand. Packing comfortable items. Planning downtime if you need it. So maybe you need to leave for the airport an hour earlier, just so that you can have that time not to rush. Requesting accommodations in advance, making us know, make us aware. We want to make sure that we're not missing anything. Many destinations now offer sensory friendly experiences and autism friendly programs. As you've seen in some of my presentations that I've done with my partnership with Red Barn, there's a lot of places out there. And there's more and more that are coming into play because they're realizing this is a true need that the community in the United States needs. Some of it is international, some of it is here in the United States. But whatever we can do, we want to make sure that we're putting you in a great place that's going to make it like it was yesterday for you, and that those memories are created not just for the child or the adult that has the disabilities, but for the caregivers or the family that went with you. So, very, very carefully making sure every detail is prepped for you. Segment 7 is talking about building confidence with experience. The one thing I've noticed over the years is that confidence grows through action. The first accessible trip might be overwhelming, as you heard me talk about. Your first cruise might feel a little intimidating. There's times, when my PTSD kicks in and I grab Mark's shirt and I'm like, okay, I feel a little overwhelmed. But I close my eyes, or I touch his shirt, or he holds my hand and says, you're going to be okay. You're on the boat already. I know it's a little crowded. Let's move over to a quieter area. So that's how we make it so that it's not so intimidating for me. Your first international flight might seem impossible. I tell you, the Netherlands flight that I did internationally, that was definitely something that I will never forget. I sat next to a woman that had lost a family member, and there was four of us. She kept leaning on me, sleeping on my shoulder, tried to move over. She complained about my bag, because she didn't have enough foot room, so I had to try to move it over. And of course, I can't bend the one leg, so very good. And I had to squeeze my foot into a small spot, and then I had to worry about leg cramps, or I had to worry about the bar, getting tight on me, you know. So definitely making sure that we have a good spot for you to sit. If you need stretch out room, if you need special accommodations, maybe putting you near the front of the plane or whatever we needed to do, because those planes are pretty big and there's a lot of people on them. So to not feel overwhelmed with that, and you're sitting quite tight. So, that's something that if you had ever decided to do an international trip, we certainly can talk about more in depth. Every successful experience builds confidence. I remember, in school, every successful thing I did built me confidence. I felt great at the end of the day when I learned something new. And I couldn't wait as a kid to go home and tell mom and dad, hey, I learned something great today, or I went on a field trip and I saw this beautiful thing. And funny thing is, I just took my granddaughter to the Niagara Falls Aquarium last Friday, and she raved about the trip the whole way home. My daughter said on Sunday when she went back with her mom and dad. We took her to the Herschel Carousel Museum in Tonawanda, New York. She was intrigued with how they carve stuff and how she was all excited about being on the carousel and how it was built and seeing all the different animals besides horses that they use on a carousel. She just couldn't believe it. And she's only 6. So just think, I remember a little bit when I was younger, but not a lot. I remember when I accomplished learning all the multiples of 3. I remember my third grade teacher put these houses, or my second grade teacher put these houses on her closet door in the front of the classroom. And when I learned them all and I memorized them all, I felt great. So we can plan a trip like that where it can be almost a memorized type of lesson. And that way you're prepared to go. Every step of the way, all those boxes are checked, T's are crossed, and I's are dotted. And it built confidence. And eventually, what once felt scary becomes routine. Think of me. I'm ready to go on another international trip. I definitely want to go to Poland. I want to see where my roots were. I want to go to Sicily and see where my grandfather came from. Those are coming around the corner, and I'll do it again. Now that I've had my first international flight, even though it was scary. So, what you learn from those things, you know how everything works. So, instead of having that guessing feeling in your mind, where the anxiety just gets really high because you don't know what to expect, it becomes almost like routine because you learned what you need to do and what works well for you. You learn what questions to ask. You learn how to prepare. And most importantly, you learn that travel is possible. So, takes us into segment 8. Why am I passionate about this? As a travel advisor specializing in accessible and autism friendly travel, I see firsthand how transformative travel can be. I've watched families take trips they thought were impossible. I've watched travelers regain confidence, not just people I've taken care of, but my own family too. Myself. I've watched grandparents create memories with grandchildren just like I do. I've watched individuals discover accessibility challenges don't have to prevent that meaningful travel experience or experiences that they want to make. Travel should be for everyone. And that's why advocacy matters, not just for ourselves, but for future travelers too. Every time we speak up, we ask questions, we request accommodations, we're helping create more inclusive travel in the industry for not just for us, but for others too. So, on that thought, I'm going to leave this in your mind. Your needs are valid. Your comfort matters. Your safety matters. Your experience matters. You deserve to see the world. You deserve a memorable vacation or vacations. You deserve to travel confidently. Don't let fear stop you. And don't let it stop you from asking what you need. Advocate for yourself. It's not about being demanding. Just be an advocate. And take a deep breath if you're asked, what do you need? Don't take it as an insult. Take it as, wow, I might be helping somebody else. If I tell them what I need and they come up with something even more creative. And that's what about this is. It's it's about giving yourself the opportunity to fully experience the journey and maybe helping someone else down the road. Thank you guys once again for joining me in another episode of Wish Fulfilled, where travel wishes come true. If you have questions about accessible travel, autism friendly vacations, cruising, group travel, or accommodations that I can help make for you, I want to be able to do it for you and make that trip as smooth and seamless as possible. So give me the opportunity to help you. You can visit me on our webpage, which is www.c as in cat, m as in Mary travel agency.com, or contact me directly 24/7 at 716-327-4821. Until next time, remember this: travel is for everyone, and every wish deserves the opportunity to be fulfilled. I'm Jen, and I'll see you on the next episode of Wish Fulfilled, where travel wishes do come true. Bye.